My memories of the Valley of a Thousand Hills, and specifically the area around the Umgeni River, are of a great sense of peace and a great sense of living in close harmony with nature. I owe my musicianship now and my creative outlook to those years, when with other youths we swam in the rivers and walked around the hills and caught birds, picked fruit, and did all those sorts of nice things which aren't very easy to accomplish in a township.
This is the first LPO workshop, and I'm working with Dina Mhlope. We're basing our work around stories through music. So again, we're trying to communicate with people through music and to just help loosen people so that they can be more open to relate to each other.
This workshop is what we would call a creative workshop, which is drawing out the storytelling tradition, the singing tradition that's here in South Africa, combining that with the improvisatory skills of the musicians from the London Philharmonic, pulled together by Eugene and Tina Mhlope.
The second one is shorter, it's cut so that you can bring back the respect. I'll do it again. Yes.
I'm being truly African when I say that I regard the body as a temple of natural sound, out of which rises the human voice. And I believe that the first instrument that the human being comes across is their heartbeat.
As a South African musician and as a teacher, it was very relaxing. It was a completely lateral approach for me. Class music, even if you're teaching one-on-one, one trumpeter, one teacher, can be very structured, and you give them certain things to do, and sometimes it can be very discouraging. I came to this workshop with the express purpose of finding out something from an oblique angle, and I was very impressed. First of all, it's very relaxing for the teacher, and I think it also encourages, having looked around at my colleagues in the workshop today, people's lack of inhibition. I think we can all let go. And I think in music teaching, we need to let go. Have fun, just to get the sound out. Never mind if you're getting a C sharp or a B flat or whatever the note might be. Just to experiment with whatever instrument you play, whether it's a horn like this or a trumpet or even percussion. Make sounds, have fun, and let your imagination run riot.
White South Africans don't generally tend to have a great enough contact with their own culture, so I actually got more from today than I did, over the last 22 years.
I think music has reflected very much what's happened in our country, that musicians are also segmented. And if it means bringing out an international orchestra of this stature to help us break the logjam, because I think there is a logjam in that way, then so be it. I think it's fine. And if we can pick up from what they've taught us in workshops like this and take away their material, or our material rather, and apply it for ourselves wherever we might be, in the Northwest Province or in the Western Cape, for example, then their visit is not in vain.
The Ngoma Project is an outreach and education project whose main aim is breaking the cycle of violence that has been haunting South Africa for centuries. It's a project that uses combined art forms like dance, poetry, photography, music, etc., carnival design, to reach out to all the people of South Africa, but mainly the disadvantaged, and to rekindle their sense of dignity and to empower them to take their lives and the future of the new South Africa into their own hands. The choice of the concept Ngoma is very deliberate in relation to South Africa, because it's only in the West where the art forms are so divided, compartmentalized. In Africa, traditionally, the various art forms can actually be seen as parts of one whole, like the idea of Ngoma, meaning drum, which is the central image to our project.
It's so much fun, and sometimes I wish a lot more classical musicians would really let themselves go and come and play jazz and rock and roll and get involved with all this singing and everything. It's so much fun, and there's a whole big world out there that that a lot of us don't know about. It's just fantastic.
I think art can seriously have a powerful impact in influencing the lives of young people, especially if we consider that the kind of approach to the arts that Ngoma has is all-encompassing, and therefore it means that art is equal to life, really. And the forward-looking influence within the art and the facility within the arts to actually engender a spirit of wholeness and peacefulness with oneself is the key to this. We've been working with loads of children, hundreds of children in South Africa, and there's not one time when I've not felt the urgency with which the kids respond to our work.
Cisco, I remember your name.
Which one do you want to play? Are you going to play?
And then as you raise your hands, make your voice go higher. Watch this. This is magic, right?
This is a workshop that we've been running here in Addington School since beginning of February now, coming more or less every week, although of course we went away for 3 weeks in the middle. And they've been devising their own music and their own dance, their own text. Okay, I'll start off and then I'll hand the stone over to you and you can continue. Mandaba lived on the highest mountain, and her hair ran in long, long, long strands right down through all the valleys, all the way around that mountain, and it brought water to the valleys. In one of those valleys was where the Rainbow People lived. And you know who lived with the Rainbow People? It was Nomvula. And has anyone ever seen this place? Where this happened?
I know.
Where?
At the Valley of the Thousand Hills.
Ah.
Yeah.
And did you see the tree there?
Yes.
Did anyone see the tree?
But it has leaves on it. It did have leaves. It didn't. So then when he went there and he tried to play the drums and sing, it was so awful. They all blocked their ears and ran away into the jungle.
What was the idea? Can anyone remember what the idea was?
I used to.
Everybody can remember.
He got his idea and he looked on the floor and he had all these evil thoughts like, and then he said, aha, I'll get my friends to put them in a bag.
So that's a story stone.
The only problems we've experienced in setting up and executing the Ngoma Project have had nothing to do with the participants, the actual children, the youth, students and so forth. The problems have had only to do with what I guess I can call, the problems actually arise out of the learning curve, as a friend put it, that South Africa is going through. So we've had financial problems, serious cash flow problems, whereas we had been promised monies to arrive, to receive at a certain time. They come kind of weeks and months later, and that doesn't make our job very easy. In apartheid South Africa, it was significant to talk of different cultures, diverse cultures, or even more appropriately, divided cultures. But I think it's very important now, as we go into the new South Africa, to begin to change our view on that and start to embrace the notion of one culture which unifies different facets of a holistic or all-embracing culture. I was conscientized when I was a child in my mother's house because we were visited. My mum's house was like open house, and many musicians, political activists, gangsters and such like used to come and frequent my mum's house, where there was always food and lots to drink, and it was the place that people could come to after hours. And therefore lots of discussions and stuff used to happen at my house. But where I believe the point at which the conscientization reached its fruition was when I met Steve Biko. And the major principle, if you like, behind his philosophy was encapsulated in the phrase that he made famous, which is, black man, you are on your own. And basically he was teaching the South African black community to love themselves and not aspire to something other than themselves, encouraging black people to stop straightening their hair and using dangerous chemical products produced by the white industry to bleach their skins and all that kind of stuff. And he inspired me and many other young people at that time very much. So that was the time when awareness of myself reached its height. And so even the work that I do now under the umbrella of Ngoma is very much rooted in those years. when Steve Biko told us about self-reliance.
Okay, can I just stop you all? Okay, let's just take this through the ceiling, right? Can I just say one important thing, right? The most important thing is to make us be one group, one village, one organism, one, you know those little, what is it, amoebas? Yeah? Yeah?
No, I don't want to be a amoeba. No.
Well, I'm sorry, you're right in the center of us. You're the nucleus, right? Now listen, nucleus, just behave yourself, right? Okay, so what's going to happen now is Warwick over here is an incredibly sensitive musician. He is incredibly fastidious. He only plays when he's feeling the groove, you know what I'm saying? When he feels the rhythm inside, right?
I went into exile in 1980 for two main reasons. One is that my personal life was beginning to be threatened because of my political and cultural activities. And coming from Durban, where most of my activities were based, I felt forced to leave that part of the country. And I ended up in Johannesburg. In fact, I was kind of lying low in Yeoville, which was a white area then. And I ended up living in the servants' quarters of a house somewhere in Yeoville, where the second reason emerged, which is that I met my present wife, Mary, in Johannesburg, and being white, she being white, it wasn't very, very comfortable for us to stay together. So those two reasons coupled together forced me to leave. In exile, I think I achieved the greatest opportunity I could ever have found over a period of roughly 15 years to look at my personal struggle and the struggle of my people more objectively. I also think I had the advantage of meeting people, cultural activists from all over the world, and to be able to interact with these people and refine the techniques of my work in preparation for when I come back, which is what I've begun to do now.
It's got strings, hi? And they put it on the chin. look at that. Put it on the chin, and then they tickle it a little bit, and it sings. Ooh, very nice. And then they tug out other things. Big ones. Put it like that. Almost like a nice lady partner to dance with. Like a big tickling. Look at that. Ooh. It seemed to work. It was beautiful, the things they brought. They brought other things, you see, with a big mouth, shiny mouth though, and then they would, put the other end at the mouth.
I'm significantly concerned by the tendency in present South Africa for many people, black and white, to misinterpret the philosophy which was founded by Steve Biko, which is called Black Consciousness. And I always remember that Steve Biko was, in fact, one of the most peaceful and relaxed people I've ever met in my life, and completely non-violent. So the philosophy of Black Consciousness, and I quote him when I say this, was and is a means towards an end and not an end in itself. And quite often people confuse black consciousness with black violence or black aggression or something negative. And it's a very positive philosophy which actually addresses black people and tells them to look at their own personal mirror and reorganize, reconstitute their vision of themselves to a point where they stand upright and are dignified and at peace with themselves, and therefore at peace with their neighbor and their environment. And only when we reach that point are we in a position and therefore able to go across and extend our hand and meet the other as an equal. In present New South Africa, there is a resurgence of this kind of philosophy, and it is re-emerging because the need for that kind of outlook is more urgent now even than before. Because as I try to say, for true reconciliation to happen, people have to go into themselves and come to terms with who they are. And therefore black people who have been living for centuries as subhumans, if you like, have to cleanse themselves of that kind of dehumanization. And the only way to do it is really through recognizing themselves and, if you like, unfolding from within and coming out strong and beautiful and upright.
The first week after I presented the project, they all came to me and said, "Oh, we don't know what to do. Suddenly we've got all this freedom. We can't think of anything." But they've thought of all sorts of bizarre things. Thank God.
It's like a roller coaster ride. It's exhilarating, liberating eyes and inevitable lows. It's absolutely amazing.
Our universal theme is dealing with the healing, spiritual healing in our country, and this is a very important time for us in our country. So I think it is very appropriate.
I think we've managed at least to sow the seeds towards engendering a sense of self-reliance and empowerment amongst the youth of South Africa. But this is only the beginning, and I see it very much as laying the foundation to Ngoma's work. Ngoma is a long-term project which I hope will culminate in the actual establishment of physical centers throughout Africa that will carry on this kind of work. My vision of the future, all I can say is, while we still gather the fragments of apartheid South Africa, I am not aware of any other country in the world that is on the brink of a greater creative human explosion. At the end of the Ngoma Project, I hope we will have managed to at least rekindle within especially the youth and the underprivileged a sense of dignity and therefore leave a legacy of empowerment and self-reliance.
Que vocês acreditam? Que a minha cor não me faz inferior. Meus irmãos da a minha força vem da terra, vem do mar. Eu canto pela força daquele
Washia non koskaze semwekane aungenxa yamabhunu
que grita
thina siyakuhlonipha abantu bekwami.
Eu canto por você, por mim.
Awo kodwa ke mntakabawoa
em busca de coragem.
awufanga nje awena ufela isizwe sakuwena unabantu bakho thina siyakuhlonipha abantu bebona awu kohala kowethu awu ngqongqoshe yakowethu wena ikroti lasemzantsi Afrika yo awu siyakuhlonipha abantu hayi igazi lakho aliphalalanga nje